Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Criterion of Action, Mizan al-Amal. And today we will deal with two short chapters: the subdivisions of the virtue of wisdom and the subdivisions of the virtue of courage. And we'll leave, inshallah, temperance, inshallah, tomorrow. بيان ما يندرج تحت فضيلة الحكمة ورذيلتها من الخب والبلة, deceit and stupidity, and the subdivisions of the virtue of wisdom and its corresponding vices of deceit and stupidity. Imam Al-Ghazali said, rahimahullah, the subdivisions of the virtue are discretion, sound judgment, penetrating insight, and right opinion. حسن التدبير, وجودة الذهن, وثقافة الرأي, وصواب الظن. Discretion means the ability to correctly deduce the best and most beneficial course of action, attain great goodness and noble aims, whether for yourself or when advising another, and whether it concerns the affairs of the home or the police. Again, the police in the sense of the city, but rather in a wider sense, the state. And this is why, in fact, it is tadbir manzil. Okay. First of all, after you said the affairs of the home or the police or the repelling of an enemy or an evil, we stop here and say, in Arabic, tadbir manzili. And I would like, to shuttle between the English and the Arabic. Many people do not know that tadbir manzil is the direct translation of economy, the Greek concept of economy. The economy basically it begins at home when we say cottage industry or home industries, but it has been reduced. It has been reduced in the school system into a girls' activity, so boys do not really study tadbir manzili. I'm using the Arabic on purpose. Girls do. And what do they do in tadbir manzili? They do biscuits and cakes. I'm not against biscuits and cakes. But I'm also, I would like the boys to have a taste, in the sense of to participate, to partake, to contribute, to assume a certain role, where house chores, to begin with, are genderless. That's very important. The Prophet ﷺ used to do house chores. He used to do needlework, to patch his own clothing, fixing his own shoes, putting things in order at home. كان يصنع شيئا يخزن شيئا. He used to milk the she-goat. He used to cut meat. And in one general hadith, I believe all of them were narrated by Lady Sayyidah Aisha رضي عنها. كان يكون في مهنة أهله. He used to do house chores. He used to do exactly what his family was doing. But that's about certain aspects. To تدبير المنزل originally is about bookkeeping. It's about knowing what's your budget. It's knowing what, do not extend yourself beyond your budget. Sorry for the all these details, but it's very important. تدبير المنزل is definitely in Arabic أو مدينة. It's the management. حسن التدبير. حسن التدبير. It is management. It is the political economy, if you will. And I think boys need to do both, and the girls need to do both. So it's not a biscuit, it's not a cake. In sum, it applies to every significant and important matter. In the case of trivial matters, it is called cleverness rather than discretion. So we have went beyond also discretion. Sound judgment, جودة الذهن, means the ability to judge fairly when opinions differ and disputes arise. Penetrating insight means the ability to quickly identify the means that lead things to their best outcomes. Praiseworthy outcomes. Right opinion means the ability to recognize the truth based on appearances without needing to resort to pondering proofs. Based on appearances, observation. The vice of deceit is subdivided into cunning and trickery. Cunning is the skill of extracting the most possible out of what the person believes to be good, though it is not actually good, despite its great profit. If the profit is trivial, it is called trickery. The difference between cunning and trickery, then, is determined by the greatness or smallness of the object sought. So it determined by the greatness or smallness of the object sought. In fact, والشرف, whether it's honorable, as for the vice of stupidity, البلة. It is subdivided into naivety, folly, and insanity. Naivety means a general lack of experience in practical matters, despite the mind being sound. So somebody could have the highest IQ, but not good at practical matters. A person could be naive in one regard, but not others, depending on his experience. In some, the naive person is the one who is not walled wise. It's also about upbringing. If the kids do not really accompany the adults to important social functions, to you simply say they are still young, they don't go to the Friday prayer, they don't listen. You don't take them with you to when you to funerals offering condolences, and life becomes for them is like a rosy, you know, setting in a sense. They don't see how you deal with in business. You don't. They don't see how you deal with politics. You don't. They don't see how you deal with people. You overprotect. You spoil. Then they will end up naive. A person could be naive in one regard, but not others, depending on his experience. In some, the naive person is the one who is not world wise. Folly is the corruption of the thought process when it pursues a goal, so that the person does not follow the right path to it. If this is innate in a person, he is called a natural fool. And it cannot be cured. Someone is born like this. There isn't much you can do. It can also arise as a result of illness, in which case it ceases when the illness is cured. Insanity is the corruption of the mind such that it does not react as it ought to, and reacts in ways it ought not to. The insane person's aims are corrupt, while the fool's conduct is corrupt. The fool, for his part, shares the same aims as the intelligent person, which is why his folly is indiscernible until he attempts to achieve his aim. Insanity is corruption of the aim itself, and so is immediately discernible. The subdivisions of the virtue of courage. These are munificence, boldness, greatness of soul, fortitude, forbearance, constancy, nobility, gallantry, and dignity. Munificence is the middle point between vulgarity and depravity. It means to spend gladly for the sake of things of great value and usefulness. Can also be called liberality. Boldness is the middle point between carelessness and timidity. It means self confidence in the face of death whenever this is required without fear. Greatness of soul is the middle point between pride and smallness of soul. It is the virtue that allows a man to prepare himself for great things. It is the virtue that allows the man to prepare himself for great things while belittling and paying short shrift to them because he rejoices in the value and glory of his own soul. The effect of this is that he is only somewhat pleased by the great honors that come to him from the scholars, and takes no pleasure in being honored by strangers, nor in trivial matters, or the happy outcomes of fortune and chance. Fortitude is the middle point between carelessness and restlessness. It means to restrain the soul when experiencing discomfort. Um, Carelessness and restlessness. Maybe Al-Jasara, it is about having courage. And the hala. So the human being has been created in that state of hala. Forbearance is the middle point between wrathfulness and spinelessness. It is a state that requires or acquires dignity for the soul. Constancy is the strength of the soul and its lack of lassitude. Gallantry is keenness towards action in expectation of goodness. Shahama has, it does have that kind of courtesy. Uh, Almost like chivalry. Nobility is the soul's delight in great deeds. As for dignity is the middle point or the midpoint between pride and humility. It is to put one's soul just where it belongs based on one's knowledge of its merit. The subdivisions of the vices that correspond to courage, which are recklessness and cowardice, are as follows: vulgarity, depravity, carelessness, timidity, vanity, smallness of soul, restlessness, wrathfulness, spinelessness, pride, baseness, conceit, and disgrace. Those that incline towards the side of excess are subdivisions of recklessness. Those that incline towards the side of deficiency are subdivisions of cowardice. Vulgarity means unnecessary expenditure on things that are not needed, such as decorations, in order to show off. It's probably one of the uh, it's a modern. It has been in existence, obviously, but probably it's widespread today. Things, things as extensions of the human beings. That's what showing off. That's what's basically wanting to be praised for that extension. Handbags from famous fashion houses. Who cares? So it's not really the function anymore. It's not the quality, it's the name. Which sometimes it does include the quality, but does not justify paying for a purse tens of thousands of dollars, literally. Depravity means business and not spending on necessary things, and taking pride in trivial things. Carelessness means taking death lightly when it ought not be taken so. Timidity means unnecessary contraction occasioned by fear of death. It is death, halak. Vanity means deeming oneself fit for great things when one does not deserve them. Smallness of soul means deeming oneself fit for less than one deserves. Carelessness means lack of concern for the cause of death for no good reason. Restlessness means a lack of ability to bear pain and discomfort. Wrathfulness means being quick to anger and going to an excess therein. Spinelessness means being dull and slow to anger, like when the situation requires that you act and you don't, you are slow. Pride means raising the soul above what it merits. Baseness means lowering the soul's honor and dignity below what it merits. If this is done in the proper way, however, it is called humility and is praiseworthy. Pride is born of conceit, which is when a person is ignorant of his own merit and imagines it to be greater than it is. People look down on pride and stinginess more than they do on baseness and wastefulness. For the former are especially ugly, while the latter are blameworthy, but nevertheless have some resemblance to humility and generosity. Indeed, it may sometimes be difficult to tell them apart, so that a person imagines them to be virtues when in fact they are vices because of their inclination away from equilibrium. The Prophet ﷺ said, and really this hadith ends Imam Ghazali culminates this chapter with this hadith, which is not a hadith, by the way. He said, glad tidings, Tuba, to the one who is humble without being deficient, and who abases himself without being wretched. The narrator of this hadith is Rakb al-Masri, the Egyptian, and they said that he is not known to have suhbah and yajhal, and there are those who said that the chain of narrators is weak. There are those who said that certain narrations, because in addition, sometimes even it is narrated with few extra words, but the طرقه واهية, all the chains of narrators pertaining to this hadith are weak. But I think, of course, the meaning, inshallah, is sound, despite the problem with the chain of narrators. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll deal with the subdivisions of the virtue of temperance and its corresponding vices. بيان ما يندرج تحت فضيلة العفة ورذيلتها. Until tomorrow, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.